Hi there! Have you ever wondered why some sounds goes well together and some other not? Why some sounds can merge beautifully and be consonant, and some others can be less pleasing to the ear and be dissonant? There are different ways to explain that, but we have to go back to what sound is in its nature. What is sound? Sound is a variation of pressure that moves through the air. Translation, sound is a vibration of air. The particles in the air get all compressed, then stretched out, then compressed, then stretched out, etc. And that's how the sound propagates, like the waves on the surface of water when you throw a rock in a lake, for instance. That is also why there is no sound in space. If there is no particle of air to be compressed or stretched, there is no sound propagation. So this vibration will make our eardrum vibrate inside our ear, and our brain will be like, hey man, you are hearing a sound. To know if two sounds are consonant or dissonant, we can compare their frequency of oscillation. Basically, the simpler the ratio is between these frequencies, the more consonant they are. So if I take a sound that vibrates at 220 Hz, for example, the more consonant sound that can go with it is 440 Hz, which is the double of that frequency, so they have the simplest ratio of 2:1. The next most consonant sound that can go with this 220 Hz is 660 Hz, which is the triple of these frequencies, so they have a ratio of 3:1. And then the next most consonant sound that can go with us is 880 Hz with a ratio of 4:1. And if we keep going, we start creating a series that we call the Harmonic Series. So the simpler the ratio is between two frequencies, the more consonant they are. And that means that the more consonant they are, the more frequently their waves will sync up. That is also why when two sounds are dissonant, we can hear a beating in the sounds. That are the waves that go slowly in and out of sync. This is also how we can define purity of a consonance. This is the absence of beating when two sounds play together. We can use that to create our first musical scale and play actual music. We've settled that the most consonant sound to go with our 220 Hz sounds would be 440 Hz, so twice as high, with a ratio of 2:1. And they are actually so consonant that they are considered the same notes, with different pitches, but if our 220 Hz is an A, 440 Hz is also an A but one octave higher. So that means every time we multiply or divide a frequency by 2, we actually are getting the same note but one octave higher or lower. So the most consonant interval between two different notes would be when they have a ratio of 3:1. And that is what we'll use to build our scale. So let's start with our A at 440 Hz. We can add one note above and one note below using the 3:1 ratio. And then we can multiply or divide these frequencies by 2 to get the same notes, but closer to our 440 Hz note. We can then go one step further with these new notes we just created by multiplying or dividing their frequencies by 3 to get other new notes. By bringing these frequencies to the narrowest range possible, we can end up with this suite of notes. And there we created our first pentatonic scale with 5 notes per octave. That is probably the kind of scale that is the most used around the world. It's used a lot in Chinese music, blues, country and folk music, for example. The frequencies in our scale actually correspond to the notes G, A, B, D, E, which is the pentatonic scale of G major or the pentatonic scale of E minor. And from there we can add 2 notes again, so we can end up with these frequencies that correspond to the notes G, A, B, D, E, F sharp, which is the scale of G major. And this is how the first scales were created. In this kind of scale, the first note is called the tonic, and then there is the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and this is why we call the next note the octave, oct meaning 8, which is technically the same note than the tonic. Now back to the harmonic series we made at the beginning of the video and compare it with the notes we have in our scale. So the first note, harmonic 1, is our fundamental, and the harmonics 2, 4 and 8 are different octaves. Then the most consonant notes with our tonics in our scale would be the 5th and the 4th, as we used the 3:1 ratio of the harmonic 3 to make them, and the 4th is a 5th below the tonic. Then the most consonant note with our tonic would be the 3rd and the 6th. If we look the relation between our 3rd and the fundamental, we find a relation of 64 on 81, which is almost 4/5. We choose the 5:1 ratio of the 5th harmonic in the harmonic series, and the 6th is the 3rd below the tonic. And finally, the 2 last notes, the 7th and the 2nd, are the most dissonant with the tonic in our scale. This 3rd, that is almost exact but not perfect, will begin to cause problems at some point, but we'll see why a bit later. This is the beginning of a very long road to explore the music theories and to explore how our music is built, and that is a road that I would like to take. slowly at my own pace in a series of videos, starting with the fundamentals, explaining why we use the tools that we use today, and then how we can use these tools to create our own music. So if you'd like to see these videos when they come out, make sure to subscribe and to hit the bell button. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.